I don't know what was going on there. Hey, Al, do you remember meeting me at the Comedy Cellar? I had to I had to follow you a couple times,
You
and
followed me.
You killed. And then I remember one time I went off on the audience. I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm not a congressman." Okay,
Senator, please.
Well, no, I was going below. I was like, I'm not even a local like just like politician. I'm just a regular guy.
Because I would usually head over to the other place or go home.
Yeah. It's good to see you again, man. I'm really stoked to have you on, and this is such a cool band. To find out that you're.
I can't believe the breadth of what you're doing here, and of your knowledge of music. And as I was listening to your podcast, I was going like, I'm like your opposite.
What do you mean?
I'm like, I love the Dead. And then I'm embarrassed about the lack of breadth of my musical taste. I mean, I like Miles Davis. I like classic rock, of course. I like country. I mean, I like a lot of what the Dead do, which is all of that. They do blues, they do country, they do folk, they do traditional. But it astounds me what you're doing here with these 500.
I'm ready to quit every moment.
He's ready to quit at every moment.
You're not lying. Me and Jeremiah have to talk after this, because I'm like, I just don't know if I can keep doing this, man.
Where are you? How many are you at?
Jer, we're 5 years
this is
in.
261 we're doing
How many?
right now. 261, so we're not even halfway through, Al.
Yeah, and you have to also understand. And
I think this whole podcast should be about what you're going through.
Dude,
it kind of is.
It kind of is right now.
I mean, man, because
talk them into it, Al. Talk them into it.
Well, what's interesting is that, like, I'm embarrassed about my narrowness of taste.
Sure.
So I admire your breadth of taste, but you may have bit off a little bit. Why didn't you go the 100 top albums?
100%. Well, I'll fill you in, and the listeners have heard this before, but it's good to always refresh. Like, I had a buddy, a brilliant comedian named Angelo Bowers, that was one of the funniest comedians I've ever met. And Al, you would have known who he was by now, because he would have written for SNL. And this isn't just me saying
what
this.
happened to the guy?
We got into a really bad car accident. A drunk driver ran a red light right in front of the Capitol Records building in LA, killed him. I almost died.
Fuck.
But he was like this music encyclopedia. And look, it's a heavy story, but a lot of good has come from it. And it's like I keep his name alive. And this podcast was because him and I would talk about music, and he would make fun of me that I didn't know certain albums. Like, you name a band and I'm like, oh, I know them, the Commodores. Oh, I know Brick House, or I know this or this artist or that artist, but I never really listened to full records. And I went through an existential, it was just, I started asking questions in 2018, like, why aren't I happy? And why is this? And why do I self-sabotage and blah, blah, blah. And then I started meditating and working with this guru, and next thing I know, I was like, I just want to feel every day, and I want to experience something new and experience art, because art moves me, especially music. And Angelo and I used to talk about this list. We used to argue over it, because he would be like, this should be higher, and why isn't this on the list? This list is crap. But also,
it's a beautiful thing you're doing. It's a beautiful thing you're doing.
Thank you. God damn you.
You're helping, Al. You're helping.
Well, I mean,
money.
He would want you not to go crazy too.
It's tough. You know what it is? It's also, this is
becoming much heavier.
No, we'll get into it. Trust me. We'll lighten it up. We will lighten this up.
I'm fine. Heavy is good too.
I hope you're like, I took some some family counseling courses back in college, and maybe I can work you two through it. No, I love doing it. I'm not going to sit here and say I've gotten a lot busier, but it's tough when we started doing the show. and we were doing it out of pure love, and it was exciting and it was great. And then Spotify came along and was like, we want to pay you a lot of money to make this, and we're going to grow with you over the years. And we were like, this is going to rule. Now we're making good money, and Jer's making money, and I'm making money, and my staff's making money. And then the pandemic hits, we get to July, and all the shit they said to us about growing it and numbers and this was just a lie. And the second they could drop the show, they did. So we went from no money, exciting, a lot of money, and awesome, to suddenly no money again. And we've had to build that up, and it's just time. It starts to get to where, like, how do we grow this? How do we grow this bigger than what we have?
Well, thank God you have me on.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna hit a market for sure, dude. Yeah. We are hitting a market. But no, and look, I think this is the same thing. Like,
the Dead, of course, are huge and still have this enormous following of all ages. By the way, the last concert I went to, I'm going to one in St. Louis in June. The last one I went to was the Citi Field in New York. It was I went to their last one of the tour, and I was so amazed by the age range, which was, older than me, which is old, down to kids, and every age. And John Mayer, I think, is part of that.
Yeah, I
Dead
saw
and
that.
Company. Yeah,
but
that's your buddy Josh.
But their music, I mean, you see, 22-year-old women twirling now, and you see that, and it's the music, and that's what it always was with them. They never had a top 10 unless I Will Survive.
No, it was Touch of Grey was the one hit that they had that was, which like on pop radio.
It's like, yeah, it sounds like it too. It sounds like they went, fuck.
Damn it, we got one.
Yeah, and then when I run into someone who, that's their favorite Dead song, I go, ooh.
No respect.
Well, I think a lot of people, don't.
It's a nice song.
It's a great song. I just don't think a lot of people really know their music. They don't play it on the radios. What I thought, and you said it's about the music. I was actually going to say, I think a lot of the reason the Dead is so big is they mastered the art of branding. Like that image of the skull with I think the lightning.
Their art is amazing.
It's amazing.
Definitely. And that was.
Yeah, you're wearing it, and
I'm wearing it.
That's like the Rolling Stone lips, of like, wow. It's like,
well, it's more than, it was a lot more than that, but you're right. It all flows into one thing. But if you, part of their branding is they do a different show every night,
which I love.
You can go to 4, if they're doing 4 shows in New York, you can go to all 4 shows.
And they're not gonna do they double up at least one or two songs, or it's always a different set?
It's almost always a different set, but they'll double something over the 4 nights, sure, but not much. And also they, and some people, they're a jam band to an extent. I mean, they're improvised. Every night is different. And every night is real, and if you're, I've been, on trains with from Manhattan to New Haven, where everyone's going like, okay, last night they did this. I'll bet you they do this, and this. You're on a car with all deadheads.
Yeah.
On a train.
Yeah.
On Amtrak from, and but the taping is a big deal because this is a band that they encourage their fans to tape, and there's a tape section. There's an article in the New Yorker that if anyone's interested in this, on the vault.
Okay.
And the vault is where I guess either the great tapes or copies of the greatest tapes are kept. And what's interesting, so I'm reading this article in the New Yorker, and I go through, it's like really great article, and I'm at page 5, and I go, this is a long article. I'm at page 6, 7. It's like a 23-page article on the vault.
Yeah.
and for example, and these are all fan tapes. These are not board tapes. Maybe there's a board. I don't know. But the deal was like the best tapes capture the music perfectly, but are also in the crowd. So you capture the crowd perfectly.
Yeah.
And that's and when you have done thousands and thousands of concerts with hundreds of people taping at every concert, you get a lot of fucking great tapes.
Sure.
And then you got to add on the shows they caught lightning in a bottle, because that wasn't every show.
No, I saw them at Bonnaroo when we were both performing at Bonnaroo. It was good. But it was like my buddy. There was a guy that
Did they like you?
I didn't get to meet him, unfortunately.
I met.
Oh no! Thank God they didn't see it. Oh my God,
that was a joke.
Yeah, no, I know.
Did they like?
Oh,
you?
I know. But it was they were Deadhead fans there, and they made up the whole Sunday show of basically people that.
What year is this?
This is 2016, because I have the poster up here. It's the Dead. The headliners were Dead and Company, Pearl Jam, and LCD Sound System, which is another band that I love that you mentioned. You talked about how it's always an entirely different set. Like that's one of the things I love about Pearl Jam and My Morning Jacket, where they're going to play 4 nights and they're going to give you a different set list every time, which is such a bummer when you see someone like Bruce Springsteen, who's coming to Madison Square Garden and he's playing Barclays and he's playing these very close arenas. You're like, oh, I would go to all 3 of them, but he's literally doing the exact same set every night of the tour. And I respect these bands like the Dead, which
it's a different thing. Paul Simon, who I love, it's an interesting thing about Paul. He said he did his last tour, and I take him at his word a few years ago. But the thing about Paul, first of all, maybe the greatest American songwriter. I don't know.
Yeah, he's definitely in the conversation for sure.
Yeah, but his father was either an orchestra leader or an arranger, but I think an orchestra leader. And what Paul does, first of all, and he stopped touring evidently, but he didn't. We would tour like once every 3 years or 4 years, something like that. And he would have a lot of the same musicians, but some different, and he would have different arrangements. And he would, And what was great about that was, and I was supposed to be talking about the Dead here.
No, keep going.
What was great about Paul was that you could go to that show, you would hear the song you wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to hear the Boxer, you heard the Boxer, but it was different.
Ooh.
Arranged differently. But you heard the song you wanted to hear, and yet it was different. This is very different from what the Dead did, which was, essentially Paul did the same, show every night. Mm. But Dead is just different every night, and there's a tremendous amount of improvising. There's no improvising in Paul's shows, but so yeah, they're partly a jam band, and that's what a lot of people loved about them. Then there are other people who just don't like that.
It's a tough music. No, it's the same reason a lot of people, when they listen to jazz, they're just like, man, I don't like this. And then, and there's people that love jazz, but then they get into the Miles Davis, like Bitches Brew, and they're like, oh, this is noise. I can't even, listen to this for a few moments. They can go off on these, 25-minute, sometimes 30 to an hour long jam in the middle of a song, and and they might not do drugs, or they're just like, they don't see it. I mean, they don't see it even for what it is, which is the improvisation and the musicianship.
Yeah,
between
I don't think I've ever
people.
heard the Dead do an hour, but I've heard them do long jams. But I mean, and again, one night is different than another, and I've seen them. I've got to know them because I went to a lot of concerts, and also they did SNL in '75. I got to Tom Davis and I were huge Dead fans, and we just made sure that they got to know us, and we got to know them.
Yeah. How did it start? Let's go. Take us there. But how did it start? Like, you're you're Jewish, I'm assuming.
That's how it started. We were required at temple.
Where are you from?
The rabbi was a huge deadhead.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem al ya acid.
And the rabbi was a liar. He told me Jerry was Jewish.
Really?
No. No. This is how it started. I wasn't the deadhead. Tom was the deadhead.
Okay.
And then after I graduated from college in '73, we went out to Hollywood to become, to do comedy. And there was a show, a dead show in Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara. So that was my first show. It was an outdoor show, and that was it. I'd heard some dead, but that was it. And then we just kept doing, we go up to San Francisco to Winterland and do 4 shows in a row, and do the whole. There's a couple of good, fun, dead stories at Winterland. I think we went 3 years in a row, 73, 70, no, like 374, 2 years in a row where we did 4 nights. And I think it was a 74 show. One of them, I got the worst migraine, a horrible migraine. And I had to go to the first aid place there at the concert.
Yeah.
Which was it was like not even air, not air mattresses, just like beach, like something you'd float on in a swimming pool. That was where you'd lie down. And it was of no help at all. And so I'm there, and then someone there recommended there was a hospital 2 blocks away. So and my wife now, she wasn't my wife then, but my wife now walked me to the hospital. Tom's watching the concert, and they give me Demerol.
Ooh.
I don't know if you've ever had Demerol.
Oh, I have.
But my headache was gone in 2 seconds.
Sure. And all your childhood
and it was
fears.
Like the worst. Yeah. So then she walks me back, and I listen to the rest of the concert, and I don't remember much of it. So that's one.
Was that the first time that you had any kind of a party favor at a dead show?
Oh, no.
Okay. Good.
No,
good.
And it's the only time I got, but when I do get migraines occasionally, it's much less now, and I have actual legal medicine to nip it in the bud.
Nice.
And it does. Maxalt for anyone. Rizatriptan is the generic
official sponsor of the podcast.
Yeah, that's the they're actually I got an ad read for them.
Anyway, so there's a lot of good dead stories. Like the last concert I went to, Bill Walton is a big deadhead.
Yeah, very.
Right.
And so I've known Bill. I mean, you run into. Oh, here's a funny story. So I know the manager of the Dead, and we were talking, and he said that when some asshole, like rich asshole, was demanding great tickets, in the seated section, close up in the middle, and he was a real asshole, he'd make sure that he got the seat behind Walton.
Yes. What's Walt, like 7'2", like 6'?
He's only like 7. He's only like 17. But you see, the thing about him is, any concert you see him. So anyway, so he's at this thing, and he's noticing that I get up and dance for about 10 minutes, and I sit down. And I sit down for a few minutes, and I get up and dance 10 minutes. I sit down, and then he goes. At a certain point, he goes, "Al, what's wrong?" I said, "I've had a bad back for about 35 years. I got surgery about 30 years ago. It didn't do really much good at all. It's been exactly the same, and I have to sit down every 10 minutes." And he goes, "Al, back surgery has changed in the last 30 years." And Walton famously had this really serious back surgery about 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Which he's written about, and it changed his life. So Walton says, I'll find you the best surgeon in New York. And he's in San Diego, of course, that's where he lives, but he goes to those guys in San Diego, who's the best. And he gets me this unbelievable, he gets me a great surgeon.
Yeah.
At the hospital for special surgery. And I have the surgery. My back is fine. My back's great.
Great. And so now you're dancing for 20 minutes and then nice. How many
Well, I haven't been, I'll see you in June because I hadn't been to a concert since.
How many times have you seen the Dead?
I'd say in the area of 50.
50.
Damn.
Wow.
Nice.
Is there any one that really sticks out as like you said, lightning in a bottle?
That's really an interesting of ones that I was at. Certainly Winterland, those concerts in the 73, 74. Well, then I went like later. That's right. I went in the 70s a number of times. Those I remember, maybe because I was young and but no, it's usually they catch lightning in a bottle for a certain part of every show, and you just go, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit.
Yeah.
And they did that. I mean, Mayer, I was going, holy shit at Citi Field. I mean, it's interesting because when he first came in, everyone was skeptical, of course. And I think that's 6 years ago or five or 6 years ago.
I mean, yeah, he was playing with them in 2016, so at least till then.
Oh, he was in 16. Yeah. Okay. Well, he's grown into them. I mean, he's grown into them, and he's amazing. I think he's an amazing guitarist. But yeah, so yeah, I haven't been to a concert where it hasn't taken off with him there.
Yeah.
And so they catch it in the bottle a lot, and that's what the vault kind of is about too, is catching the bottle, really catching the bottle. I mean, okay, here's a story.
Yeah.
There is one song that I love is Althea, and I don't know if you know that song, but it's a beautiful song, and there's an Althea they did May 1980 at Nassau Coliseum, and it's amazing, and that's all I can say. But I would recommend that Nassau Coliseum. I think it's May 80. So I wrote a book a few years ago, and I was on the Dead channel on Sirius, and I interviewed both Mickey Hart and Billy Kreutzmann, the drummers. I'm using a pen to show drummer, and then Bob Weir.
yeah. Keep going. I want to know what they all play.
Yeah. So first I interviewed Mickey, and I said, okay, there's this Althea from May 1980 that is absolutely fucking amazing. And here's my question. Why, from then on, didn't you just listen to that and just do that? And he goes, oh, no, that's totally antithetical to our whole thing. No, we would never do that. And I go, oh, okay. So then next guy I had interviews is Kreutzmann. And I asked the same question. He said, no, we don't do that. The whole point is spontaneity. No, we don't do that. So then I talked to Weir, and I said, okay, there's this Althea from Nassau Coliseum. And I said, why didn't you just fucking listen to it and do the same? And he goes, oh, man, it's not for want of trying. So clearly the drummers really didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But I would recommend anyone listening to this, go to Nassau Coliseum. There's a few amazing renditions of songs that I love in that. Peggy O, there's a Garcia solo in that's so beautiful. and then Althea is fucking crazy.
Well, it's so funny you said that. So we did, Jer, what was the first record we did by them? Working Man's Blues. What was it?
Working Man's Dead.
Yeah, that's what we did. That was the first record we did on this, which, truth be told, Al, was the first actual Dead album I had ever listened to. I've told this story before I get into the next question that I'm about to ask, but in 1995, the last tour for the Grateful Dead,
Sure.
with Jerry, that was, I'm 15 years old and I was really into psychedelics, and somebody said, if you want to go do some LSD, they have the Grateful Dead camp out at Lake Forest Mall in the parking lot. And I went and I had the most magical night of my life with
Jerry's last show?
This is not his, I know his last show was at RFK Stadium. That might have been, I know that was the last.
His last show was Chicago.
Well, but what I'm saying was this was his last tour. This was the last tour, I'm pretty sure, because he died in, 95 or 96?
95.
So, yeah, so it was then, and we camp out, and it was just incredible. And as the morning comes and everybody starts walking to the Hex to go buy tickets from the Ticketmaster, this hippie was just like, so you excited about going to the show? And I'm just like, nah, I'm not going. I just came for the drugs. And the guy was like, you have to go. And then all of these people were just like surrounding me, like, you have to go. Like, you have to, man. You can't miss this. And I'm just like, and on the drugs, and I regret it. I regret it because, look.
Because you didn't go to the show?
I didn't go. I didn't have any money, man. I was broke. They offered to buy me tickets, and I was just like,
they offered to buy you fucking tickets.
I know. But I was on drugs. I'm like, stranger danger. Like, please don't hurt me. Everybody's face was melting, but I regret it.
Of course.
And so
I had a thing where I had a radio show on Air America, a political show, for 3 years, and the interstitial music when I go to commercial or come out was always a Jerry solo.
Yeah.
Part of a Jerry solo. And so I was doing a fundraiser when I was running, and I'm going to a fundraiser, I'm going to somebody's house, and this woman who's probably at the time in her 40s, late 40s, stops me. And she says, I listen to your radio show, and I listened to Jerry, I listened to Dad, and I had thought they were like hard rock, heavy metal or something. I didn't know what I thought. So I started listening to them, and all I can think of is, I missed Jerry.
Wow. Wow.
I missed Jerry. And she had to stop me to say that.
Oh my God. It's because this is the thing, is like, even with, so I've never listened to anything from the Vault. Working Man's Dead? Is that what the record is called? Yeah, I listened to that.
Yeah. If you listen to stuff on the Sirius XM, they pick pretty tasty stuff.
Yeah, and it's always great. This was such an easy listen, especially we recorded another one earlier today of Jesus and Mary Chain, and it's just like this crunchy, like really loud, noisy record. And then this morning, and I had been kind of dabbing and listening to this, but I don't really give every album like 6 or 7 listens anymore. I just give it one really focused listen, and I pick out what I like, and because I always feel now it's like sometimes you get it after the second or third listen, but you might also get it right on that first. And I put this on, and I was just like, my God, it's perfect music.
Isn't it beautiful?
It really is.
So beautiful.
Well, this was.
So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
This album.
Well, just to go off of that though, so we had, and I'm assuming you probably have talked to him at the Cellar, Phil Hanley. Have you talked to Phil?
Of course.
Yeah. So Phil did the first Grateful Dead record on here, and
Anthem of the Sun.
It's Anthem of the Sun. Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry. So we did Anthem of the Sun as our first record, and wow. which is out there, man. There's some real out there moments on it. There's some good stuff, but it wasn't like this.
It's
not this. And he kept saying, saying, this is the record. This is the one that if you're going to listen to one of their albums, this is the one that you want to listen, because it's just great Americana, and it really is.
You're talking about.
I'm talking about what we're doing today, American Beauty. Yeah, I mean, this is like,
So he wasn't saying the one he was doing.
No,
I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. He was saying that like this, it's almost kind of like. My buddy Angelo was describing comedy, and he goes, some people are apple pie in their pizza. It's just very easy to eat it, and you love it. But then some are radishes. Not everybody loves a radish, but he's like, I'm a radish. Like that other record, Anthem of the Sun, was a radish. You had to listen to it, and you have to have a taste for it.
Sometimes there are salads.
Yes.
Where the radish is a nice, and the album is a salad, as opposed to a bowl of radishes.
Sure, and this is a nice here. This has the elements of the radish in it, but it's more salad. It's got dressing. It's got some chives, some cheese,
some bacon in there.
Well, I don't know what this is as a food. It's a beautiful. It's an amazing, beautiful album.
Do you think this is
do some of the history?
Yeah. So here, let me read this little skadoodle about it.
We have so much on this.
We do. Jared, please try to steer us. Try to steer us into the important stuff.
You give us the history.
Yeah. So this is.
I don't know history.
All right. So this is the 5th studio album by the Grateful Dead. It debuted in November of 1970, just 4 months after their previous release. The album continued
4 months after their previous release,
which was what?
Alive?
Jerry, you got to look that up. I don't.
Working Man's Dead.
Working Man's Dead.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
Okay, that's holy shit.
Yeah.
The release this 4 months after Working Man's Dead.
It's crazy.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and so
that's a productive period.
Yes, so this continued the folk rock and country music style of the previous record, both of which were innovative at the time for their fusion of bluegrass, rock and roll, folk, and country music. Lyricist Robert Hunter commented, "We went back into American folk tradition, but being experimenters, nothing would do, but we try to reinvent that. Compared to Working Man's Dead, American Beauty had even less lead guitar work from Garcia, who increasingly filled the void with pedal steel guitar. This was the result of a prolific period of the songwriting partnership of Jerry Garcia and Robert Hunter. Robert Hunter frequently made use of motifs, common to motifs. Thank you. Common to American folklore. Illustrate.
I'm an asshole.
No, please. I'm stupid. I'm stupid.
And I'm an asshole.
Okay. Common to American folklore. Illustrate themes involving love and loss, life and death, beauty and horror, and chaos and order. Phil Lesch's father was dying during the writing and recording of this album, and Jerry Garcia's mother had recently passed. In his autobiography, Lesch commented, "The magnetism of the scene at Wally Heater's recording studio made it a lot easier for me to deal with the loss of my father and my new responsibilities. Some of the best musicians around were hanging there during that period, with Paul Kantner and Grace Slick from Jefferson Airplane, The Dead, Santana, Crosby, Stills, and Crosby, Nash, and Neil Young working there. The studio became jammer heaven. Thank the Lord for music. It's a healing force beyond words to describe." So that is the little doodad that we have. Did I miss anything, Jeremiah, about what is
the overview? I mean, them coming up in Palo Alto, which is kind of a mind bender, but yeah, in the Bay Area, I mean, that's super important. I think the origin of the name is really cool.
What is the origin? What's the origin of the name? What do we have?
The name Grateful Dead was chosen from a dictionary.
They were the
Warlocks before.
Oh, did they just find something in the dictionary? Is that it? They pointed to
Jerry picked up an old Britannica World Language Dictionary, and in that silvery elf voice, he said to me, "Hey man, how about the Grateful Dead?" The definition there.
Imagine if he had just went turgid. Turgid.
That's it.
That's it. That's the one I pointed to.
And they're tripping balls, and they're all
Do
on.
We have to.
They're all just like, I guess. All right.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen,
turgid. It's time for chucking. Hug-a-doodly-doo.
I like the music.
Yeah, but his name is terrible.
But this T-shirt, people.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough of that. We went through that.
So what is there? So really, like, do we have a little history, Jer, about this actual record that you could find? Like, what's like? Because I've got a bunch, but I want to get to the real meat and potatoes of what this is. Because I have before. Here it is. There you go. So listen, Jerry wanted the Dead to do something like California country western, where they focus more on the singing than on the instrumentation. Robert Hunter said it was a surprise to us, as it was to everybody else. This machine-eating, monster psychedelic band is suddenly putting out sweet, listenable material, which is a perfectly well-said sentence about to describe that record. American Beauty really is. I mean, it is everything about it is just very, very sweet and 100%
Beautiful.
listenable. Produced after the discovery that the band's manager, Lenny Hart, had renewed their contract with Warner Brothers without their knowledge and then skipped town with a sizable chunk of the band's wealth.
Yep.
In between near constant touring and gigging, recording began only a few months after the release of Working Man's Dead, without their regular sound crew, who were out on the road as part of the Medicine Ball Caravan tour, which the Dead were originally scheduled to join. Instead, studio staff engineer Stephen Barncard replaced Bob Matthews as producer, a move that irks Matthews to this day. This album entered the Billboard 200, peaking at number 30 during a 19-week stay in January 71. 3 years later, the album certified gold, then later platinum, then double platinum in 86, respectively. The American National Association of Recording Merchandisers placed this album at number 20 in its 2007 list of definitive 200 albums. And this is something cool that I always love doing every episode, Al, is this is the third of 4 times we're going to be talking about the Grateful Dead. The first was with Phil Hanley for Anthem of the Sun. Then we have Working Man's Dead, which is actually a few weeks before this one. We haven't recorded it yet, but we will be. And then that came in at 264. And then this record, and then 1969's Live Dead. But on the 2020 re-rank, because this is the 2012 list, Working Man's Dead dropped to 409. But today's album rose 46 spots to 215, but the other 2 didn't make the cut. Do you feel like that order of albums on the list that we're doing? So the lowest is Anthem of the Sun, then you have Working Man's Dead, then you have American Beauty, and then the top one is Live Dead. Do you feel like that is the right order when we're talking about the records that the Grateful Dead have put out?
It sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's on Live Dead. I just don't. But you know, you want to hear them live, because that's when they again, you know, they catch lightning in a bottle in the studio, obviously, all the time too.
Yeah.
But live is like,
that's what Phil said.
There are moments that just make you go, holy shit.
That's what Phil said. Phil said, he's like, the albums are great. The album we're talking about today is incredible. It's one of his favorite records. But he's like, where the band shines is in that vault. It's at that live show. And you can feel that. And that's why people continuously keep going. I mean, you have people that have followed them around on the road for the last 30 years and will continue until the day they die.
Oh my God. I as I get older, I lose names, but at one point, Bruce Hornsby filled in as keyboard. You know, they had a record of keyboardists dying, and Hornsby came in, and the Eagles drummer Henley,
Don Henley, yeah,
Don Henley, just didn't like the Dead. And the thing about, like, if you go to an Eagles concert, every fucking note is the same, and they're great. I love the Eagles. Their songs are great, a lot of them. But I only need to go to one Eagles concert
to get it
every 20 years.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
That's
right.
it.
You get
and
your
I
fill.
and I hear the same thing they just clear as a beautiful. So Henley says, "Why are you playing with the Dead?" And and he said, Bruce says, they're great. He said, come to a concert. So they're playing wherever they were. If they're in Texas, I don't know where they were. And he said Henley came up to him afterwards and went to his ear and said, it was even worse than I thought. and I don't know, maybe they had a bad night, or maybe it's just Henley, being a grouch. But of course, Live Dead will probably be the best because it'll be the most incredible versions of all these different songs.
Yeah.
Because if you just fucking, that's what it is. It's lightning in a bottle, 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 lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Side 2, lightning in a bottle,
lightning in a bottle. Yeah.
We have a good quote from Bill Graham. He said at the Grateful Dead for their live performances, he says, they're not the best at what they do. They're the only ones that do what they do. Compliment?
Yeah, no, that's a huge compliment. And it's true.
They're original.
Can you compare any other group? I mean, look at I think they've toured more than any group.
Definitely in the top 5 or 10 for sure. I mean, they feel like they're always on the road. I mean, God, they've made so much money. I mean, they're playing stadiums, and I mean, they played RFK.
Yeah, but they've also lost so much money with Mickey's dad.
Yeah.
Mickey's a great guy. I'm sure he went, but they give money away too. They give money away. They're very charitable.
Yeah, I mean,
the Rex Foundation does that. I part of that, and they give money and they make sure that kids in poor areas of communities have musical instruments.
Who have you connected with over the years? I know you mentioned a few of your friends, but obviously you're a diehard fan. Like, what other people, whether in comedy or in the political spectrum, have you been able to connect with over the Dead?
Well, that's interesting because my mind is going blank.
Bill Walton's
Walter
a big one.
Cronkite.
Walter Cronkite.
Go fuck yourself.
Walter
No
Cronkite
way.
I'm not kidding you. And he was a drummer.
Cronkite. No way.
Isn't that funny?
That's insane.
Not expecting that.
I wasn't expecting out of everybody you were about to say.
Yeah.
You're like Newt Gingrich.
No. I've heard that, like Ann Coulter, they're right-wing people.
No
that
way.
are in the Dead. Ann Coulter and Tucker Carlson, I think.
Oh God.
Are both into the Dead, which is
yeah.
No.
I have a list of famous. Well, there's some obvious ones here, but Bill Clinton, Al Gore, big fans. Will Arnett, Adam Scott, Matt Groening, Josh.
I believe that.
Cool.
I believe
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Pat Leahy, who's senator from Vermont. But I'm trying to think of who I see at Dead concerts that I go like, oh, wow. And I don't know. My mind, I'm drawing a fucking blank, but Walton is I think the biggest in both ways.
Size and
he's in good shape. He's tallest.
Have you been able to turn people on to the Dead?
Yeah.
Like who are some of the people in your life that you've made diehard fans?
My daughter.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, there's a good story about involves this album, involves Box of Rain. So we're at Giant Stadium. I think my daughter was like 12 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to be on the stage to watch the concert. And, the stadium's full. It's not just people who sit in the in the stands, but the whole field. Okay. So I don't know. There's 80,000, something like that, people there. So they finish the show. It's clear they're going to do an encore. And so we're on the stage and guys kind of huddle and start saying, okay, what do we do? And my daughter says, could you do Box of Rain? And they go, and that's Phil's song. And they kind of go like, oh, we haven't played it in a while. But okay. And they go out and they start Box of Rain, and every fan knows the beginning chords of any song. They go nuts. So you have 80,000 people going, oh God, Box of Rain. And he goes up on a couple there's a lyric in it with words half spoken and thoughts unclear is one of the lyrics. And he went up on that. So he goes up on the lyrics, and that's okay, because he hadn't sung in a while, and he went up in the lyrics. So when I listen to Dead, like on Sirius XM, I'm listening to it one time driving along, and I'm hearing him play Box of Rain live somewhere, and he goes up on those lyrics, and I go, "That was the one. That was the one that reminded." And I mean, the thrill for her, for them to play it, and then for this 80,000 people just to roar because of the choice. That was,
Josh, do you want to read the thing on this song? Because it's pretty good. I mean, it's sad.
Where is it? Go ahead.
It's all about Phil Lesh's dad, who was dying. Lesh wanted a song to sing to his father before he died. So he wrote the music and recorded it and gave the tape to Grateful Dead lyricist Robert Hunter, who listened to the music a few times and then wrote the lyrics. And Lesh would practice singing the song in the car on the way to the hospital. And he was able to sing the song to his dad before he died. Like, this is some tearjerker stuff.
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
I didn't know that.
He said if a lyric wrote itself, this did as fast as the pen would pull, according to Lesh.
Wow, that's beautiful. That is
really
beautiful.
pretty.
I mean, with that, it just makes sense, because it's an incredible song. I couldn't, like, as soon as it was over, I started it over again.
I'm tearing up at that story.
Yeah.
I should have read more. You would be bawling right now. It's like really sad. I don't want to go too deep.
No, that's an amazing.
It's beautiful. It's really
story.
beautiful.
The song is so beautiful. The song is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look out of any window, any morning, any evening, any day.
Out of all their studio records, is this your favorite? Is this like the one, not the live stuff, but like out of Anthem? I mean, because I don't know how many actual studio records there are by them.
I mean, I guess so. I love Wake of the Flood. I don't know if you guys know that one. I mean, there's certain songs from every album, even the ones that aren't their greatest albums, where it's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this one. If you want to go through them.
Sure.
Friend of the Devil?
Rain is
Friend of the Devil?
Friend of the Devil is classic, of course. And so this is Garcia, and I think somebody else is credited with it that I had not. Dawson or something.
It's they're saying the song has evolved over time.
John Dawson.
Jerry has stated the version the band played in later years was inspired by Kenny Loggins' version of the song, and it's been covered live or in studio by Bob Dylan, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Elvis Costello, Dave Matthews Band, Mumford & Sons, all artists that I can see kind of fall under the umbrella of what the Dead, represent and that style of Americana. And the main theme of the song is that life of crime always sticks with you. That is to say, once you deal with the devil, you will always deal with the devil. Yeah. The song goes on to talk about the measures the narrator must take and all the things that he must endure, misses due to his life of crime. That's probably that's probably what Tucker likes.
Well, that's just kind of like that's what the song is about.
Sure.
That's very literal. That David Grissom, Grissman plays mandolin on the song, and there's a beautiful one that just he and Garcia do that people should try to listen to if they're Deadheads and they like that song. They do it. They have a little bit of a drummer on it, but that's amazing. And Grissman also does the mandolin on Ripple.
I love the mandolin. Mandolin is an unsung hero in music. Like, I mean, REM made a whole career off of the mandolin, There was a whole album of just mandolin, like, what is it? Automatic for the People. That's, what was their famous song? losing my. I mean that, and they were great. And you know, truth be told, when I go to Guitar Center, when I'm dicking around on 14th Street, like I go to the guitar room, I always grab a mandolin. I'm a mandolin man. I'm not afraid to say it.
Well, Grisman is amazing, and he plays on, as I said, on Ripple, and Ripple is probably one of their most beloved songs. And
well, then you have Super Magnolia. Is this in order? Do I have it in order, or do I have it?
Sugar Magnolia.
Yeah, Sugar Magnolia.
This is a Weir song.
Yeah,
Weir Hunter,
Mhm.
and which is unusual. But this is Cajun. This is just like a Cajun rhythm. They even say, you know, one of the lyrics is a Cajun rhythm. Dancing. Fucking 4-wheel drive.
They're saying this is one of the band's most frequently performed songs, and is divided into two parts, with the coda coming along after the song proper.
When this is done live,
Yeah, tell me about it.
they kick the shit out of this live,
Nice.
and people
Nice.
dance like the Willies, you know, and it's beautiful. To just be there when they play this, and they kill it. They kill it. And so when they do it, yeah, she can dance a Cajun rhythm, jump like the Willies in 4-wheel drive. She's a summer love in the spring, fall, and winter. She can make happy any man alive.
So great.
And it's an amazing dancing song. And then they play with it at the end, and Garcia, it's yeah. If you can get a live version of that, the best live version of that, you know, you can go to Spotify. I'm sorry that they fucked you over.
Oh, it's okay.
But you can
I
go to
still pay
Spotify.
$9.99 a month.
Yeah, we're still paying
I
for
still
it.
pay for it like an idiot.
Yeah. The least they should have done is like, okay, now your lifetime.
That's what it was.
Exactly.
It was no, but that was
At least.
my agent said she put that in the contract, and yet every month I still see $9.99 gone. So yeah,
Fuck that.
I know.
I'm getting off Spotify. I don't care about the other stuff, but this one.
All right, there you
Black
go.
Rock.
Let's start a.
But
Yeah.
start a
if you go to
movement.
Spotify
Dark Lord.
and just put in Sugar Magnolia, they'll have like 8 great Sugar Magnolias, and just listen to any of them. Go to the top one, the most requested, and
and then just
it'll-
enjoy. Yeah.
it'll knock your socks off.
What do
Turn up loud.
what
All
do
of
you-
this is about loud.
What do you think about Operator?
It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
It's a nice song. The songs that really speak to me in this,
Yeah. What do you got?
well, Ripple. You know, another thing is I sing Ripple and Broke Down Palace to my grandchildren, at bedtime.
I love that.
And I also sing there is a young cowboy, you know, James Taylor, sweet baby James.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So those are I sing them, Sweet Baby James, Broke Down Palace, and Ripple to go to bed, and I tickle their backs, and you know, Grandpa sing the songs, and it's like my favorite thing in the world to do.
Oh, that's great. That's
I love
great.
that. Well, if you cried after, you know, I was giving you the backstory on Box of Rain, then you don't want me to read the backstory on Ripple or Broke Down Palace. Actually, Broke Down Palace was about Jerry Garcia's mom dying.
Oh, great! No, don't
Cheer you up here. I'm gonna cheer you up.
Those are really great songs. When
But, you know, it is
with
fairly well
with my kids, when they're kids, I'm gonna sing as they try to fall asleep. A Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin. just, you've been fooled rolling.
Well,
Not falling asleep.
We like to party in
maybe
my
that
household.
means they'll be able to sleep anywhere.
Yeah, right at a bus station, just
Something to be
anywhere.
said for that, right?
Ripple's, I really loved Ripple. Broke Down Palace, I really liked as well. And I mean, I just the ending of this record. What I really started feeling was just I really didn't want it to end, and then especially with it ending on Truckin', which is such a iconic song. There's, you were talking about if Touch of Grey is was the big pop hit. Truckin' is one that, I bet you most people would hear and identify. If you know music at all, you'll identify this as a Dead song. And it's just, it rules.
What's funny is that they never, maybe Touch of Grey got to be in top 10. But there were two songs that would have been in the top 10, but because of a lyric in it, it wasn't. So Truckin' has living on Reds, vitamin C, and cocaine. All a friend can say is ain't it a shame.
Yeah.
And so cocaine.
Yeah.
And then Casey Jones.
That's the famous one, yeah.
Oh, so great.
Riding that train. I don't know that. On cocaine. And so two songs that would have been in the top 10. This is according to them.
Makes sense.
But they still play both of these songs, like on 94.7 in Washington D.C., which was like the classic rock radio station. I remember hearing this. I remember hearing Casey Jones. I didn't hear an edited version of it because I thought that was so cool that they said. I mean, Christ, fucking Eric Clapton had a song called "Cocaine."
Yeah,
and that's one of his. That's his hits.
Classic.
Right. It was. I think they did this earlier, and they were also not Eric Clapton, and they were the Grateful Dead, and maybe in certain,
You want to talk about, Al, you want to talk about something? One of my things that I do now is I go to see every show. If it's an artist that I respect, I'm going to go if I have a night off. And so, I mean, and a lot of the old greats, like if the Stones are coming around or Bruce or Depeche Mode's coming or whoever, The Cure, I'm going. And Clapton played Madison Square Garden, and I went, and man, that was the most boring show I had ever. Oh, he did kind of like you were saying, where he'll play the hits, but he changed everything a little bit like Paul Simon does. But he didn't talk to the audience, and it was just,
more acoustic?
He did an acoustic section where he did like Tears in Heaven, and he did some of the old blues, like the Robert Johnson stuff. He also did... he did do Cocaine. He didn't do Lay Down Sally, which I really wanted to hear. And then the worst part, I was at least hoping for him to go on like a racist rant or like, just, go off about Fauci and the vaccines and nothing. He gave nothing. I was so upset. I was like, come on, man. I thought that would be his encore at least. just to really go,
That's too bad. Yeah, he's gotten off the... just politically, gone in a weird way. But he was like that in the 70s. Like I was reading articles about it that he was very opinionated about like immigration in England, and he would say stuff like if there's any people of color here and I'm cleaning it up, he would say like I don't want you here, and you're like Jesus Christ, like it just God damn.
You're such a great guitar player. Just shut your mouth. Like, we don't care. We don't need to hear what you think.
Well,
so getting back to Truckin', I just was looking at this. Bob Weir talks about the romance of striking out on the road. He says it was a rite of passage for young people in the 60s. And he said, Truckin' covers the Dead's navigation through that rite of passage. We were starting to become real guys and really enjoying the hell out of it. He said we toured more or less 6 to 8 months out of the year. It was our bread and butter. We weren't selling that many records, and we had a lot of fun out of the road. Got into a lot of trouble. We left some smoking craters and some Holiday Inns. I'll say that. And there were a lot of places that wouldn't have us back. All of this is absolutely autobiographical.
Well, there's one place where they get busted in New Orleans.
What happened there? Do you know?
The song.
It says busted down on Bourbon Street refers to an incident in 1970 when the members of the band were arrested in a drug bust that netted 19 people in New Orleans. The group was in town to play 2 shows, and the raid happened the morning after the first show. in the French Quarter Hotel that they were staying. Lesh, Weir, and drummer
If you
Bill
got a
Cruz.
warrant, I guess you're gonna come in is a lyric.
Yeah.
So that's great. It's straight out of their real life.
Busted down in New Orleans.
Out of a
Set
prop.
up like a bowling pin, knocked down
Out.
against the wearing thin.
Out of approximately 2,350 shows that the Grateful Dead have played, 2,200 have been recorded. That's pretty
Insane.
impressive. Yeah, that's I don't
What
know.
happened to the board tape
Pre-Pearl
and the
Jam.
others? That's weird.
Well, this is
Well-
like, just the fact that there's this much. I mean, you and like you said, every show is different. You have 2,200 albums, which you're figuring what they're playing 10 to 15 songs a set. Maybe less because sometimes the grooves go on a little too long or whatever. But yeah, it's like you're getting
Or they go on long.
yeah. But you're getting you're getting so many different versions. I don't know if any other band is that prolific in like just having that much content out there.
No, well, that's what happens when you improvise. And when you improvise, things evolve, right?
Yeah.
And you discover stuff and you remember that stuff and it gets better. And that is, as a comedian, you know that,
Yeah,
right?
For
If
sure.
you're able to be loose and improvise, you find stuff while you're on stage.
Yep.
And then you build your act, you get better, right?
Yeah.
And so they're doing that every fucking night. That is built into the show. We're going to take off here, and it's not random. I've been to like where sometimes they form little splinter bands, and I went to one where Kingfish, I think, was his group, Bob Weir's, and I went beforehand to the rehearsal. And my God, the distinctions he makes in rhythms and how to move from one thing to another. It's not, oh, we're improvising.
Yeah.
It's, they know what they're doing and don't know exactly what they're doing at any given moment.
It's exciting.
They're in command, but sometimes they're not in total command.
Do you mind if I double down with two comedians on the question about improvising? Because obviously, Al, as a writer, I mean, you did so much, but like, how much magic is in the improvised moments? Like that's
So much. I
that's
mean,
special stuff.
That's before you answer, because I'd love to hear your answer. He said it. You said it so perfectly. When you're loose and you're comfortable and you're confident, and and you have moments. Not every show is like that. Sometimes you get something might set me off, and I'm just not myself for the first few minutes. But when I walk up there and just having fun, it's like you might not even do any material. I might just be, getting something from the audience and then just going off on that. And those are in my opinion, are my favorite sets. I love it when I don't go up there with a real plan. And most of the time, that's what I'm doing now, which is the best. And then at rooms like the Cellar in the Village Underground, where it's like, it's such a good energy for comedy in there. It just makes for magical moments. And what's so great now is you can record them and cut those out and put them up, or you could just take that bit and then work on it until it's ready. That's what I love.
Yeah, that's a process. I'm first and foremost, I think, a writer, and so I'm a little less improvisational than I'd like to be. But I find, again, when I discover stuff when I'm up there. So, and that stuff becomes part of the act, and it's very valuable.
I want to talk about your writing though. Do you have any just incredible SNL stories, or because you were probably the greatest era of that show, in my opinion, and I've always just like been such a huge fan of yours, and I know we had to focus on the Dead, but
That's where I met them when they came.
Yeah, what was that? I mean,
cool.
was it an interesting meeting when you're really running into them? Because it's also to be able to say that your daughter gets to choose a song. Obviously, you've become buddies with them, which I think is really cool.
Well, I mean, they could tell right away. I mean, we're writers on the show, so it's not a terrible imposition, you know. And also, they're good guys. They're just open guys.
Yeah.
And you know, we know how to approach people, I think.
Sure.
And so we're just huge deadheads, and you know, we're so thrilled. And well, Bon, you just start talking to them, and they're guys, and especially Bobby and all of them. I started playing racquetball, oddly, with Kreutzmann.
No way.
Yeah.
Such a New York thing to do.
And then Billy Cobham drummed with him. I can't. Was he drumming with him, or he was palling around with him? And he, I don't know if you know, he's a drummer, and he's just so built. And I'd play with him. That was fun. But no, and then we did something in 1980. We did a thing at Radio City Music Hall, and we opened for them, and they did an acoustic set and then 2 electric sets. So our job was to introduce them, and then and I want you to go to the introduction of that and look at that. And it's just, if you go to YouTube, it's Al Franken, Franken and Davis, Grateful Dead. Franken and Davis, Grateful Dead.
See if you can pull that up real quick.
Pulling it up right now.
And it's just us being assholes backstage saying, we're your backstage pass. Or let's go meet the band.
Yeah.
and then the whole point is that we are asking each of the band members, we're going to go on. We're opening for them. So first we asked Jerry to introduce us. And I do it. Tom does it while I'm picking up Jerry's guitar after it, and I'm handing Jerry some barbecued ribs that I've just been eating as I'm picking up his, and I drop it, and there's something with everybody in the band, and then we get on, and it basically, I don't want to ruin it for you.
I think I have it. You ready?
Yeah, put a little bit on.
I don't know if this is.
That's it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a very special evening with the Grateful Dead.
We're your guest hosts tonight. I'm Al Franken. Thank you.
And I'm Tom Davis. And Al and I are both backstage right now. And this is where all the action is going to start very soon.
Now, you see these backstage passes that Tom and I have. These are very, very difficult to get. But we got them because we're a lot more important than you are.
But tonight, we're going to be your backstage passes, okay?
That's right. So, come on. Let's go hang out with the Grateful Dead. Come on.
It's okay. You're with us. Come on.
It's going to be fun.
Here, see how good they treat you when you're backstage here? Al, have you tried any of these ribs? These are fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
I ate a lot of them.
For the band, that food. Hey, it's okay. We're with the band.
Really? It's okay. Relax. Come on. Let's go. Let's hang out with Jerry for a while before the show starts.
This is going to be great.
Oh, boy. I'm ready for a good show tonight. Oh, Jerry. Let's go ask him.
Yeah.
We just going to come here and say hi. It's okay. They're with us.
They're with us. Come on in.
It's okay.
No, he's over there.
Hey. All right.
Hey, you guys.
And with the weirdness.
That'd be good. Hey, how you guys doing? Huh?
Well, we were trying to lay out the lineup for the set.
Oh, sorry. We didn't want to interrupt anything. We just thought we'd come back, hang out a little bit, say hi and stuff. You got any drugs?
No.
Yeah, I was joking. I don't want any drugs.
Hey, Jerry, this is a beautiful, beautiful guitar.
How much you want to
Thanks, I'm really sorry.
Hey, man. God damn it.
Sorry about that. Listen, Jerry, we're going on this moment. We're going on stage in a couple of minutes. Would you introduce us?
I can play music, but I can't do any of that kind of stuff.
Well, we don't want to.
Sorry.
How about you, Phil? Huh?
Never for you people.
Well, Al, I think these guys are a little nervous before the show. Maybe we
It's understandable.
give them a little space. These guys want to tune up.
Okay, break a leg, you guys.
Yeah, have a good show.
That's so great.
Jesus Christ, who put the bug up their ass?
Well, fuck them anyway. Let's go talk to Weird, okay?
Yeah. At least he's someone you can talk to like a real person. No, we haven't got any flowers, Bob. It's Al and Tom.
Hey, Bobby, just between the three of us, Tom and I would like to say that we think that you're really the most essential member of the Grateful Dead. When you say so, Tom?
Oh, no doubt about it. You know, when the girls get hot watching the Grateful Dead, they're not watching Garcia. It's this guy right here.
Thanks. And Bob, we were wondering if you could do us a little favor. You see, we're going out in front of the crowd real soon, and we were wondering if you could introduce us. It would really help out. Really help us with the crowd, you know. You introduced us.
Well, I'd love to, man, but my hair won't be done for like 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, well, we don't want your hair to be out of place. That's okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Oh, that's okay. We could,
thanks a lot, Bob.
we can take care of it. Okay, same to you. Have a good show.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. No problem. We got it. What a prima donna.
Well, look, let's ask Mickey and Bill. They're the drummers.
Okay.
They'll do it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I had a real good time with them once. I hope they remember it. Ooh, yes, Grateful Dead groupie. Hey, how you doing? Hi, my name's Tom Davis. Oh, relax, I got some coke. No. Hey, what'd you do that for?
I'm Mrs. Quartzman, you pig.
Oh,
Hey,
I'm
what
sorry.
the fuck's
going on,
He was pawing me.
Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't know she was your wife. Look, what are you getting so uptight for? We can share the women, we can share the wine.
What's this all about, man? I mean, what's happening?
Well, I was, nothing. I was, we can share the women, we can share the wine, you know, and, Jack Straw. I was referring to Jack Straw.
Jack Straw? Never mind. He never remembers any of the lyrics anyway. He's just a drummer. Well, you're a drummer too, man. Right? No,
You're a
I'm a
drummer.
percussionist.
Hey, would you guys introduce us? Hello, would you guys introduce us?
Tom, forget it.
Oh,
We're not
yeah.
gonna do it.
I'll talk to you guys later. I'm very sorry, okay? Excuse me, I didn't know. I'm very sorry.
Okay, this is really great, Tom. This is really terrific. We're going to go out in front of a Grateful Dead audience, and none of the Dead will introduce us. That's just terrific. They're going to eat us up. They're going to be going,
I
who
am
the fuck
really
are these
thirsty.
guys, you know?
I know. I don't know.
I'm thirsty, too.
Hey, excuse me. Would you go out and get a couple of cold sixes because I'm going to go on stage and I'm getting really dry.
Oh, I would, but I gotta go up there myself pretty soon. I'm the keyboard player.
Oh, Brent, I'm sorry. Hey, your songs on latest album are the best.
They're a breath of fresh air, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Something different, finally.
Really?
Brent, we were wondering if you'd do us kind of a favor, if you'd introduce us tonight.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
To the audience?
Yeah.
Yeah. Help us out a lot.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thanks.
Frank and Dave.
No, Brent. It's Franken and Davis, okay?
Franken and Davis.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
All right.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, well, we're going to go on now, so let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. Brent, okay. Main thing is tell the crowd that we've been friends of the Dead for a long, long time. Like a lot longer than you have.
Okay.
Yeah. Say, we were there for the acid test with Ken Keasley and Mary Munsters and, Montana Tejas and stuff like that. All right?
Fine.
Lay it on thick.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. It's going to be fun.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
Thanks, Brent.
Thanks, Brent. Got it. We need this.
Wow.
Okay, this is a big favor for us, Brent. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, we're going to be going out there in front of all those deadheads, and it's like, Jerry, don't stop. We got to do comedy in front of these guys, so,
Yeah, I know.
Okay, go out there. Now remember, we're friends of the Dead for a long time. Oh, this is great, Tom. This is great. We're going out in front of the Dead audience, and we're going to be introduced by Brent. He's been with the group for about 5 minutes. This is just great. Come on, let's go. He must be out there.
Sorry to have to do this. I don't really know these guys, and I don't think they're very funny. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Frank and Dave.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
We're the comedy team of Franken and Davis, and we're going to do about an hour of comedy. Now, wait a minute. Hold it. We got this deal worked out with the Dead, where the longer we're on, the less they can play. See? Hey. What? You don't want us to do an hour of comedy? Hey, listen. If you people don't quiet down, we're gonna get off the stage and the band will have to come on. What? Is that what you people want?
You're genius.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Grateful Dead.
Genius.
So
God.
great.
I mean, and that what was even more impressive. Was that all just in one take?
Yep.
I mean, it's just you guys. That was.
It's one take until you get to the.
Of course.
We had actually taped. We had taped this at the Warfield in San Francisco. All the backstage stuff, and the onstage stuff was at Radio City.
Wow.
So we did. Yeah, that was one take in the back, all the way up to
Ribs and all. Dropping the guitar though. That's priceless.
Now I'm
Come
so
on.
glad we got to watch that, and what a great way to end this, man. Dude, I can't thank you enough for coming on and talking to us. And you know, we've got more because we've got 2 more records. Like we will get you back for Live Dead if you got time, because it was just so much fun.
Sure, I mean, I'm sure what they picked. I'm sure I love every.
Perfect. We'll figure it out. Promote away anything you want to promote. What do you have going on? You're on tour right now, or?
I have been on tour. I'm kind of ended a phase of the tour, and I'm coming back doing a few shows in the next couple months. Not sure the dates, to tell you the truth, but the Al Franken podcast is where
June 7th
is where you can hear me. I talk mainly about current affairs, public policy. I do a lot of public policy.
Yeah.
And but then look at what's happening this week. For example, I'm sure this week we'll be analyzing what happened in New York here with the charges against Trump. And but everyone's it's a little eclectic, and very often I have comedians on. Chris Rock, and I have Conan and Letterman,
a couple comics.
Yeah,
just
heard of them.
Yeah,
Sarah Silverman.
Yeah,
and folks like that, and and I really enjoyed doing it, and it's an interesting way to do a show because I am a comedian. I was a senator, so sometimes I know some stuff most comedians don't know.
Yeah.
About about the way things are working, and sometimes I'm funnier than a senator.
Oh. That's for sure. That's for damn sure.
Than a policy person that I'm talking to. So we try to make it fun. And see Al Franken podcast. You can remember that.
We'll promote the hell out of it. I forgot to ask you. We ask all our guests these questions, and I would love to find out yours. What was your favorite song on this record?
On this record,
yeah,
I would say "Broke Down Palace."
Broke Down Palace. What was you mentioned it earlier, but what would be probably your least favorite? Maybe one you might skip over.
Let me see. Either Operator or Candyman, but I'd say Operator.
Okay.
Probably.
Can you have sex to this record?
Not anymore.
Oh, I love it. And what would be your elevator pitch to get somebody that's never heard this record to be able to listen to it? What would you say to get somebody to listen to this?
Get your building to play this stuff in the elevator. No, what would my elevator pitch is? I swear to God, you're just gonna. This is one of the most popular albums in history, multi-platinum for a reason. It depends what kind of music you like, but if you like, beautiful kind of West Coast country rock, this is it. But this is a classic album, and it's a classic album for a reason.
I completely agree with you. I'm really excited to start becoming a fan of the Grateful Dead, and I'm gonna make sure that I see them the next time they're around. But for you coming on, this was such a pleasure, Al, and I can't thank you enough. Trust me, we're very, very happy that Emily was able to contact your people to get you on, and you have an open invite to come back, if not for the Dead, for any band that you might, out of the 6 bands that you're a fan of, you can do all 6 of them.
You just had me do an Eagles one. I'll go. It's the same every fucking time.
Done, dude. Thank you, buddy.
Short episode.
Well, thank you guys. This is great. This is a lot of fun.